Hello, this is Christian. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about modules. Okay, so kind of show you how you can import components and modules into other modules and export them out into other modules. Okay, so this diagram here is the one I showed you in the assignment. So I just wanted to show you that a component, like you see here on the top, the two top rectangles, can be or should be, right, imported into a module. And then like the template-driven module here, I also separate that into another module here, the reactive module. So both of those modules will then be imported into another module called the NgForms module. And then that NgForms module is now exported and then imported into the add module. So this is the root module, right? We must have a single root module, and this module will then be bootstrapped to the Angular application. Okay, so as you can see here, the purple box here, it shows you that two modules are imported in here. It does not mean that you cannot import components. Okay, you can. And I showed you up here in the template-driven module that you can see I'm importing a component into the module. Okay, because it's a component into a module. So that means I can also import this template-driven component and its reactive component if I want to directly to this purple, the NgForms module if I want to. But instead of doing that, I'm going to import it into a separate module, and then I'll export those out. And the reason why I do that is because it's much easier to manage that way, right? And because a module can contain a lot of components together in one module. And also, you can also import other modules too. So as you can see, the purple box here has two modules inside it, imported. And I only have to export that purple module out once, and that contains both the green and the kind of pink modules over here, right? And when I import that into the orange module, the app module, I only do it once, so it saves me 2 lines of code, right? Well, I mean extra line of code. So if you have a lot of modules, you can combine all those modules together into one main module and then export them out, and that applies to, and so that way you have a collection of modules. Okay, so that is the whole idea here. Now let's see what happened in the code here. In here, this is the Hello World example, and let me show what it looks like here on the browser. So it looks just like that, right? And very simple. And then let me just kind of do this. I know it's kind of hard to see, but we will see how that can be fixed. I'm going to snap it right here. Okay. All right. No, I just want this one. Bam. All right. Okay, so here on the left is the code. This is if you look at the app module, has a lot of components. Yeah, this is kind of hard to see. I should just kind of do that. Okay, so here we have the NgModule, that's the ng directive, has a declarations property, has an imports property, providers, we're not going to deal with that yet, and then it has the bootstrap. Okay, so this bootstrap here, there should be only one bootstrap property in one ng module, and that module has, whichever module has this bootstrap property is the root module. Okay, so that's why this app module is the root, and other modules should not have it. Okay, so this is the root module. Now let's go and look at this because we see that it loads the app component as the root component of this module. That's what you see here on the right side, right? You can change it to something else if I want, because I have two components here, right? I have the app component and I have the my app component, and they're both coming from the same file. Again, this is just a file name. Okay, that is this file over here, my app.component.htmls. Right, so this one here has the app component, and the other part I put it down the bottom. It's hard to see, but it's way down here. Right, so this is the second component. It's called my app. Right, and so I'll just show you that you can have multiple components on the same file, and that is why you see it here. I just separate each component with a comma. And then to use a component inside a module, you must add them to this declarations property. Okay, and they need to go inside the declarations, not the imports. Okay, so here's the rule. Component, okay, goes into the declarations. A module goes into the imports. Okay, that is the rule. If you put a module inside the declarations, or if you put a component inside the imports, you're going to have an error. Okay, so that's why we named our components and modules with the prefix of the word component, right, or module. That's our custom modules and our custom components. But Angular's module, as you can see, is Forms module, NgModule, Browser module, and etc. Okay. So when you import these modules components, and if you don't use them, don't include them in here. Okay, you are not required to use them if you're not using it. If they're not being used anywhere. If they are used in other locations, then you have to import it and add it to the declarations. If a module is used, you add it to the imports. Okay. And then the bootstrap here again, just to show you that you must choose one component as the root component. In this case, we choose the app component. That's what you see here on the right side. If you change this to the my app, okay, I can say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna use my app as the main. So if I save that, it should reflect on the right side. And now that is my main root component. Okay, so let's go back to the other one. All right, so now I'm going to create a new component here, and we'll have a new folder. So we just call it happy. I'm happy today, right? So, and then happy, I'm going to create a new file. This is going to be the happy.component first. Component, am I spelled correctly? Yeah, so TS. And then up here we have the template, right? That's the template up there. And then down here we have the script and so on. So let's see, what else do I need? I need the component here. I need CSS, yeah, we don't have to. I'm gonna need the template as well, the HTML. Okay, so let's create one, new file, and it's gonna be happy.component.html. Again, just the HTML file. This is our template, and this is our component. And you must import the component from the Angular component. Okay. Or otherwise it won't work, right? And then, do you have it right? It's not right, component. I thought it is core. Too many languages, I don't remember. It is the core. I'll probably have to wrap this with the curly, that's all. Okay, so we need to have that component imported, and then now I can have the component here. Okay, and this component here is going to have a I'm going to copy here. I don't have to type this out. I'm just going to shortcut this, and then we have the export in the bottom here. Just a minute. So we have a selector for that. Well, the selector is going to be something like this. With usually, again, by convention, is you usually kind of use two words, okay, and then follow with a dash to make it unique. All right, and that's what I'm going to do. So I think there's an error here. Components there. It's a function. Okay. So we're going to have it not app root, but we're going to call it happy. Happy day, I guess, right? I'll just call it whatever you want to call it. Happy day here. The template will be the happy component template, and then the CSS will just say we don't need a CSS. Okay. So now the next part is going to export that out. So again, we're just going to copy this, make it quick, and then it doesn't like something here. Why is it? Did I do something wrong? No, it looks good to me. Maybe it doesn't like the semicolon. I don't know. All right, maybe that's the worst case. Okay, so again, the class name is just anything you want. To make it easier to determine what that is, we're going to call it happy component. Again, if you just call it happy, right, that's fine. It's just difficult to tell what that is. Is it a class? Is it a component? Is it a module? Is it a what? Right? So that's why we use component there just to do that. It is string. We can have a name, or maybe like we call it the message, not a name but message, is equal to happy day today. Right. Okay, we're using TypeScript here. As you can see, message the colon by the data type equals that value. If you don't use this way, you could just do the assignment like this, okay, and then that will be assigned implicitly. If you do this way, you're restricting this to be a string type. So in other words, if you put a number like this, it's going to fail because I'm forcing that to be a string type. Okay, so that's why it's called TypeScript. It has that restriction, which is good sometimes. So I'll just leave it as this, like that. All right, so now, as you can see, I have a selector, and this selector is called Happy Day, and this Happy Day selector will be used inside the parent component, okay? Not inside this one here. This is where this template is going to be injected into, this directive. And then the template here is just the happy component is nothing here. Let's put some information here. So H1, and we have a message, right? So I'll put a message here. That message is coming directly from this component because we attach it to this component here, okay? And the message is this variable down here. So this is done. Now, in order to use this, I'm going to import this into another component, right? The app component, for example. If I want to use that, I have to import it in here. And let me just kind of maximize this. It's easier to see. So to use it in here, well, no, not in here. I'm going to add it into the module, which is the app module here. So we'll do exactly like we did here, right? We add the app component here and then add module here. So let's just add the module, the component here. So we're going to have to import that component called happy component, and that is coming from the happy folder and then happy dot component. Okay, so that's where it comes from. And if I type that correctly, then to use this, I'm going to add it to declarations because it's a component. Okay, so I put it in here. If you don't use it, then just take it out. Okay, save that. Now, as you can see, nothing changes in the output. Let me close this for now. Nothing changes because we didn't add that anything here. We didn't add the happy day selector here. Let's just put it right below the bottom here. All right. So that means I have to go to the app component and then add it down here below the my tag. So I put down here the happy day tag. So if I save that, go back to my page, you see that there's the message, right? Happy day today. And so this is the parent component because I add the component here into its module, which is this module here. Okay, I add the component. Now let's do it differently. Let's put it into a module and we'll add it to the module instead of the component. All right. So back to the happy folder here. You're going to create another file, and this file is going to be called happy module ts. Okay, again, just a file name, nothing special. We just call it module so that we can differentiate between the two. I can call it happy something, whatever it is, .ts. It doesn't really matter, right? But again, the convention, you organize your file this way. So in here, I'm going to create a module. So module, you need to get the NgModule directive. So I need to import that from the ng directive. Okay, and again, if you look at this format here, it's just basically this line. I just need that. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that, put it in here. So we import that. Now that I import the module, I can then add this to use this directive, and then now that is a module, right? And now in this module, I'm going to need a the import. If I need to import anything, I put it here. If I need to import any components, I put it here. And then if I need to export them out, I put in the exports directive. Okay, so that's what you need, the import export. As you can see, this one here doesn't import anything, right? This one here, there's no export because this is the end of that module. This is the root module already, so there's no way to export that anymore. But any sub-module, like this, my tag module, you need to export that out. Okay, so back in here, I'm going to import this just to create that. Now I need to import the component in here, which is that component called happy component. It's in the same directory, so we're just going to put the happy component here. And once I import it, then I need to add this into the declarations because it's a component. You put it here. Okay, and since I need to pass this along to the parent module, I also need to export that out. Okay, if you don't export it, it's not going to work. All right, and then once you have that in there, the next thing is we need to export this module out. So again, export class. Again, just a class name, right? That's where you can't tell whether it's a module or a class, component. You need to call the word module. And this is the happy module. Again, and that's all. There's nothing, we don't put anything in here. Okay, so now that's done. And then in the add module, which is the parent module, instead of calling the component, I could now call the module. Import the happy module. That's coming from the same place, right? happy module. So there is that module, and now it's ready to be used. So in this case, if I don't use it, right, I don't have to. I could just do that, and then something's not right. Happy.module. If I don't use it, then I'm okay. If I just save that, as you can see, nothing happens to my file. Okay, nothing happens. And then if I want to, because I already put the import for the component here, if I take this out, if I don't include that component, you'll see that there should be an error. Okay, there's nothing showing. And if you show the console, F12, it says the happy day directive or element is not defined. It's an Angular component. Needs to verify that it's part of the module. Okay, and I didn't put in here, that means it's not being used, but I reference it inside my template here. So you use that, you must import it inside the module to use it. And so I can use it as a component because I import it here, or I can pull that from the module instead. Okay, so to do that, you can put that inside the module, which is the imports happy module. Now, if I save this, before I save it, let me resize that. Okay, here we go. I'm going to save it. And you see that it comes back with no problem, right? So just two ways how to import components. You can do it through a component, like the component here, or you can import it through your module, like you do here. Again, just make sure you place in the correct location down here in the module properties. So declarations accepts only component, import accepts only module. Now when you export in your module, you can export both. Okay, you can export either components or module, other modules. So in other words, if I want to export another module, I just do here and add it here, and then also put that inside the export here. I don't have an extra one, do I? Yeah, there's like the my tag, for example, right? My tag. Notice my tag has a module. It's called my tag module. If I want to use that, right, I could go into the happy module and import that here. So let's just do that for fun, right? So we'll go here and I'll make this space here. So import my tag module, okay, from the I'm going to go one directory up, and then inside the my tag module. Make sure I choose the module. Okay, so it's a module, and I'm going to import that in here, my tag, and also I'm going to pass it along too. So when I import the happy module, this my tag module comes along with it. So again, I put into the export because my tag module. Oops, tag module. Okay, so that comes. I have both the component and a module to be part of this happy module. And now inside the root module, which is the add module, right? Notice I put the my tag module here. Okay, I'm going to take that out. Okay, because it's already coming from the happy module. I included it there already. Right? As you can see, it works fine. Right? And what's in there? Well, inside this my tag module has a my tag component and has a woohoo component. It has two of them. This is the woohoo component here. This is the my tag component. Right? So both of those components are imported into this module inside the declarations here, right? And in this case, I'm only exporting the my tag component. I did not export the woohoo component. It ends here. And the reason why is I don't need that anymore, right? And so because this is already declared inside the towards the template. Yeah, I already put it inside the my tag HTML template. I put it here already. It ends there, right? So I don't need it anymore. That's why I only import it inside the my tag module, and I'm done. I'm using here already. But the my tag component, that one, if you look at the my tag component, has a selector called my tag. This tag here is being used in the parent component, which is the app component. You see that it's used right here, okay? Because it's one component above it or outside of this, that's why I need to export that out. Otherwise, I'm done here too, right? So export that out into a module called my tag. And then my tag is imported into the happy module. And then in this happy module, I have both of these, and I export both of them out. And then into the root of this app component module, then I import both. Instead of doing both, so basically I don't need this anymore, right? So this is not needed. So it saves me one file. I don't need this tag module either, right? So I could put, you know, all of these here inside the happy module if I want to. And just import that here as one file if I want to, right? That's how you organize your file, so you have make it very compact. And then now, as you can see, if I save this, everything works just fine. Okay, so I eliminated that, and then because I imported this inside the happy module, and I put that here again in the imports, not declarations. Okay, so I hope that is clear. If not, let me know. But I just want to show you that by using that example, you can organize your components and modules in a more compact way, so that you don't have to do like 10 imports in the add module. You just put them into a different module. You can call it whatever you want. Call it my main module, whatever, right? And then that main module is imported into the app component. So just one line of code instead of 5 or 6 or 10. Okay. So again, shoot me an email if you have any questions. Otherwise, I hope this is helpful and clarifies a few of your questions. Thank you.